1. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is WSIC, and we have with us IQ Bookkeeping founder Kendall Creek. Kendall, thank you so much for being on the show. I wanted to give you that intro because I took it away from you before.
No, thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about what IQ Bookkeeping is all about. It's no secret that I told you one of the top things my clients ask for is a good bookkeeper. So now's your time. Tell us what IQ Bookkeeping is all about.
About serving my fellow small business owners, entrepreneurs, by giving them the financial data they need to make better decisions to grow their businesses, and giving them the time back in their week that they normally would have spent on bookkeeping to do the things that actually make them money.
You know, what you just said is the reason I tell people they should have a bookkeeper.
Absolutely.
Time. Mm-hmm. And it's also how I measure a good bookkeeper, on time. I tell people, if you're going to hire a professional, the only thing you're buying really is time.
Exactly.
Right? It's not like they can't key in their own stuff, right? Certainly you've got skills that they don't have, right? But in general, it is time. Mm-hmm. And responding to them in a timely manner is important. And putting their information together in a timely manner is important. And then you give them that time that they can spend on something else.
Exactly.
So you really hit on the key to what bookkeeping is all about.
Yeah. I had a client in Colorado who had a little 2-year-old girl that she was bringing to work with her. She owned a consignment boutique, and she was pregnant with her second child. And I came in and cleaned up her books and took over the ongoing service for her, and gave her 3 to 4 hours a week back, which she used some of that to sleep because she was pregnant with a 2-year-old. But then also she spent the rest of that time searching for the right buyer for her business. And I gave her the clear financial data she needed to make the right sale and get what she ultimately wanted, was to be home with her 2 little girls.
Right. Yeah. And that's really what they're buying, right?
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. So give me an idea of what a good buyer client profile would look like. What kind of client is a good fit for you?
Oh, I love everybody. I mean, I don't tell anybody no. So,
well, that may be the first thing I've got to teach you, because there's some clients you don't want. Right?
Well, yes, I've civilly parted ways with a couple of clients, but basically, I'm happy to serve everybody. There's at like every price point I can help anybody, like startups. I can set them up with a QBO account, QuickBooks Online, and give them some training to show them how to do the basic stuff themselves, empower them to do it themselves, so it's right from the beginning. QuickBooks Online is a really user-friendly interface, and I can teach most people most of what they need to know in just a couple of hours. So they can do it themselves. Basic bookkeeping on a monthly basis is really what I recommend. I think that's best practice, so that you have,
yes.
Really time contingent information, seeing things as they're happening, trends, seasonal trends, what's chewing up your bottom line. Are you in the red? Are you in the black? That's not helpful if you're putting your numbers together in January.
And I tell people that key performance indicators are so important.
Absolutely.
And once you do the work, they have to be willing to take the time to review it,
yes,
so that they know what to do with the information. I mean, that is important here, right? So your step one, gathering the information and put it in some form so that they can understand it. But then they have to be willing to sit down and take time to look at it.
Right, which is, that's another part of my service that I offer people, to have a monthly, like half-hour meeting just to go over the balance sheet and the profit and loss, to see, understanding trends, making sure that they're understanding the financial data.
Isn't it amazing how many small business people do not know and understand a balance sheet and a P&L? It really is remarkable.
Yes, it's my bread and butter.
Kendall says, you don't need to learn. I got this. We're going to go to break, but before we go to break, did you wake up on a Tuesday and decide, I think I want to do bookkeeping? How did this happen? How did you get here?
Well, I was a dolphin trainer in my previous life. For 10 years, I lived in several different cities around the country working with dolphins and sea lions. And then I met my husband, and we had babies, and babies ruin everything. So they certainly change everything, but they're pretty cute. So yeah, we moved back here to Charlotte to be around my family, and I had a very dear friend who was a CPA. And well, actually, I should back up. As a dolphin trainer, I was also incredibly poor. It does not pay well. It's very
dolphin trainer.
Yes,
that in itself is quite unique.
I know. I'm a big deal. Yeah. So I was a big deal and all
Big
the glamour.
deal and no money.
But no money. Yep, super poor. So it was really out of necessity that I became pretty meticulous with my personal books. And then fast forward to my dear friend who was a CPA, really convinced me that you already know how to do this. You're crazy not to. And I went back and got some accounting education and got connected with a really outstanding bookkeeping network. And I got some traction right out of the gate and experienced like really steady growth ever since.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you've got a fan on the book that says Kendall is the best.
Oh, man.
Hire her today.
Oh my goodness.
Angela is saying
yes,
that.
Angela.
So let's take a
Thanks,
break.
girl.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more about IQ Bookkeeping, Kendall Creek. So Kendall, let's get back to bookkeeping, right? Mm-hmm. I think I told you the number one thing my clients ask for is a bookkeeper and or an accountant. They just don't have any interest in doing this type of work.
Right.
I want them. It's one of my number one tips that I give small business owners that are thinking about selling their business. I like a third party looking at this information because for me, when a buyer is reviewing it, I can send them to the bookkeeper and say, she'll tell you why she put it in that category, what the expense was, and whether it should or could be adjusted or not. And so it's a third-party view of this. So for me, I have sort of this business broker reason why I know a third party doing the bookkeeping is helpful. You probably see it from a different perspective, which is you get a chance to sit down with a client and say, have you thought about these things seem a little out of whack? When you say out of whack, what we're really talking about is percentages that don't match what may be a benchmark you guys are after.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that like timely bookkeeping keeps up with. I really like the metaphor of bookkeeper is to CPA as nurse is to doctor. Right, so the bookkeeper, my team and I, we go in through each client's books every week and clear the previous week's transactions. So we really do have like our fingers on the pulse of each individual client's transactions and goals and their progress in that direction. So, if you're waiting until January or February to put the previous year's financials into place, you're going to miss. You're likely going to miss deductions, and there's also a good chance that you're going to end up with costly amendments or audits, and things that slip through the cracks, like duplicate transactions or fraudulent transactions. If you're coding on a weekly basis, like my team and I do, you'll catch those things in real time and be able to make the corrections.
Right. So, okay, you said team. So give them a shout out. Who do you got working with you?
I have Abby Super. She is wonderful. I'm actually going to be bringing my nanny on. I'm going to hopefully train her to do some bookkeeping because I trust her. She's wonderful. I trust her with my children's lives, and she's outstanding. So that's my tiny little team. But we're looking to grow soon. So expecting growth. Yeah.
And so, well, for me, most small business owners want that. They want a small team that they can contact you, get you to return the call, and help them with the question they have at that moment. Because for them, at that moment, that may be the most important question they have.
Absolutely.
Of the week.
Of course, yeah. And I'm always the one who picks up because it's really just me. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now, one of the things you mentioned you do, I don't hear a lot of bookkeepers do, and that is wanting to sit down and talk about and help analyze what the numbers look like.
Right.
That is a level of skill set most bookkeepers I know don't do. So that is sort of an additional, I would call it additional service or added value.
Yeah, for certainly value add, and it's the analytics are really why you're doing it. I mean, you have to do it for tax prep. you might as well be doing it on a regular basis so that you can benefit from that time contingent, data about what your business is doing. Like you said, not everybody understands the reports, so that's something that I really enjoy going over. I get a little nerdy about the numbers.
And you don't seem nerdy to me. No. You know that, don't you?
Well, okay. I mean, I'll take it. But you can see me when I get in my spreadsheet mode, though. And I have a client here in Charlotte, or down in Charlotte, Ben. Hey, Ben. Hey, Logan. They're a construction team, and they had their office administrator doing the bookkeeping. Which is really common, but without specialized understanding of bookkeeping, she was making a lot of mistakes. So I came in and cleaned up the QuickBooks file and helped them transition her out of the bookkeeping role. And now I'm working really hand in hand with Logan and Ben with that solid foundation of reliable bookkeeping. Now we're starting to put together some higher level reports like KPIs, the key progress indicators, the rolling cash forecasts, because he's slated to more than double his revenue this year. Nice. So I'm really locking arms with him as a strategic accounting partner to help him navigate this massive growth.
What you just described is having the assistant. Hey, can you take care of the books for me also? Mm-hmm. I see that a lot. The other thing I see is, talking to your wife. Hey, honey, you think maybe on Saturday you can go ahead and catch me up on QuickBooks? Those are two things I see a lot of. Yes. And it tells me people are missing the whole concept.
The value.
Of the value of those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing that makes me feel comfortable with what you're saying is it is about timing. Because if you wait too long to look and review this information, it's no longer the same amount of value.
Yeah. The problem's already happened and gone. You may have dug yourself into a much deeper hole because you weren't looking at, that one expense that was just chewing up all of your profit. And it may be too late to recover unless you're looking at it in real time.
And so I'm pulling up your website, and people can see it if they're on the book. Shining light on your company numbers. I like that. So if somebody wanted to reach you, how could they reach you?
My website is iqbookkeeping.com. .info. Whoops. Or they can reach me at 619-417-2163. My California area code.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you. So it's been a ton of fun.
So you are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and I'm probably going to need someplace to sleep tonight. Chris, do you want to end the show with saying something positive about mental health, my friend?
I think the better you know yourself and where you're at, it's okay to take a break and reset.
Reset
is the word, and be okay with that. In the long run,
Simone did not quit. She reset.
That's exactly right. She did what everyone else wished they could have done. You owe it to yourself. Do something for yourself, whether it's reading a book, walking, gardening. Just do something.
You're listening to Local Biz Now. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. See you next week.